Loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Holy breath and holy name. Will you ease this pain? Holy breath and holy name. Will you ease this pain? Loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go.
Hi, I'm Nikki Walker. I know many of you. So on behalf of the Board of Directors, welcome. So nice to see all of you here, and so nice to have our lovely rabbi and student rabbi here. So things coming up tomorrow morning. Roger Phelps is doing his second bar mitzvah of his number one. So back here at 10:30 tomorrow. And you may have seen the save the date for the fundraiser. I'm just going to put a plug for that. That's March 21st. So if you have any interest in helping, baking, let me know.
Thank you. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Lovely to see you. Happy.
I hope you like that volume because
I
stuck.
just
Great.
leave it where it is. Yeah. Very nice to be here with you all. It is cold, and also it could be much colder. Everyone else I've talked to is like, it's -9 degrees, and you know.
It's very cold other places in this country.
Yeah. So, let's take a moment to turn to the people around you. Say Shabbat Shalom. Make sure you know each other. I'm confident that there's someone in this room you don't know. All of you.
While you do that, I'm desperate to try to undo what
Or-
I did. It's fine. Hi, Eva.
Hello.
But also it is much safer now.
Yes. And now we are going to have a seat, and we are going to turn to page 2 for the blessing for our candles, if you would like to join us. I was just saying, before you even got here, I was saying, I love how there are people who are like newer to the congregation that already have like their seats in the congregation. There are a few of you, you know who you are, and I love it. I just love it. Yeah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Now on page 5, we have the Kiddush, our blessing over the juice or wine. Before we sing the blessing, we'll We'll see if there are any simchas.
Does anybody have a simcha to help fill up our cup of joy? Roger's not here to claim his, but we'll celebrate that tomorrow. Joyous events?
Neither
Big
is
news?
Elliot. Today is Elliot's birthday. Happy birthday, Elliot. It's a
Happy birthday,
milestone birthday. And 13 years from now, mark your calendars, he can have his second bar mitzvah. So. Naomi. Whoa!
Twins in the family. Mazel tov.
Mazel tov. That's
Goose.
very exciting.
Finished finals.
Yeah, he did.
Amazing.
Go Goose.
What a joy for both of you. Cuddles
is-
with your favorite family member. Amazing.
That is awesome. And that reminds me, I got to feed and cuddle Noah, Rabbi Dusty's baby, earlier this week. And I went home and said to Alice that I got to feed Noah. And she goes, "You got to cuddle with the real Noah?" It's like, yeah, is there a fake one? I just don't even know. I don't It's an imposter baby Noah out there. And it was delightful.
Any chance
So
she
thank
thought you meant like
The-
Noah?
No.
Okay.
She knew.
She knew just
100%.
Noah's so
Yeah,
special.
yeah.
She's like a celebrity.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
Page 5.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh bereshit, ki hu yom tehillah lemikra kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim, ki banu v'acharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol hamim, Beshabbat kodshecha, be'ahava uvratzon, hinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh haShabbat.
L'chaim.
L'chaim.
Up next, we are going to turn to page 14, where we find the words of, some of the words of Psalm 97. And we will be specifically singing the last verse on the page, starting with Or Zarua Latzadik. Light is shown for the righteous, which all of us can be, and we can all be our own light.
Or Zarua Latzadiku Yishrelev Simcha. Again. Or Zarua Latzadiku Yishrelev Simcha. Tzadakim ba'Adonai, ba'Adonai, v'hodu lezecher kodsho, lezecher kodsho. Or Zarua Latzadiku Yishrelev Simcha. Or Zarua Latzadiku
Turning to page 20 and 21, we find the words for Lecha Dodi, our welcoming in of the beautiful Shabbat bride. I love trying to explain to 3rd through 5th graders why Shabbat is a bride, but it's because no one is happier or more lovely than a bride on her wedding day. And similarly, we are all delighted every week, in theory, to welcome this weekend, or this special day in. We'll be singing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9, and rising before that final verse.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad Ishmianu el hamiuchad Adonai echad ushmo echad L'shemo tiferet v'litchila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha ki mekor habracha merosh mikedem nesucha sof ma'aseh b'machshava techila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, hitoreri, kiva orech kumi ori, uri uri, shir daberi, kavod Adonai alayich nila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret bala gam b'simcha uvsot olam toch emunei am segula. Boi kala, boi kala. Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela.
And we are going to remain standing and turn to page 28 for the Baruch Hu, our call to worship.
Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, HaMevorach be'olam va'ed. HaMevorach
be seated. We are turning just one page to 30 for Ma'ariv Aravim, one of our pairs of Shabbat blessings for the cycles of nature. Specifically, we'll be using words that take us all the way through the focus on, rolling away darkness from the face of light and light from the face of darkness.
Oh, yeah, roll and start.
I mean, we're doing whatever you want. I thought we were doing that, but the lyrics do include that.
That is very true. Okay, yeah, great. We're doing this.
Sure,
Uh-huh.
yes.
I didn't know if that was, well, we'll do that next week. No, it's totally fine. Teen up a very specific version.
Through, yeah.
Ya la 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 ya la ya la 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 la. They're off. Ya la 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 ya la ya la 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 ya la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim bechokma poteach sherim uvifuna mishanei itim umachalif et hazmanim umisader et hakochavim b'mishmerotechem merkia kitzono borei yom v'layla borei yom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or uma'avir yom u'mevir layla umavdil ben yom u'vein layla Adonai tzvot shemo Ya la 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 Ya la 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 Ya la 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 Achai v'kayam Tamid yimoch aleinu le'olam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai Ha'mariv aravim Amen.
Page 32, we find the words for Ahavat Olam, celebrating what we think of as an everlasting and unfailing love. And I think it's really sweet that we remind ourselves of that in and around all of the other obligations. We will come after Shema to Ve'ahavta, but the idea that it is all rooted in love and that our relationships to each other and to the world are an expression of that love.
Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha habta Torah u'mitzvot Hukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadata Akein Adonai Eloheinu b'shochmeinu v'kumeinu nasiach b'kukacha v'nismach b'divrei toratecha uv'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed ki em hayenu v'orech yameinu ufahem nege yomam v'layla nege yomam v'layla ve'ahavatcha tasir mimenu le'olamim baruch atah
Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha ub'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'otecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'betecha uv'lektecha b'derech uv'shokbecha uv'kumecha ug'shartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeruhu v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kadoshim leloechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim Liot lachem Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Emet. I invite you to read with me at the top of page 39 in English. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot. That wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there, except by joining hands, marching together. Words for me, Chamocha, are on page 40. Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh nora tehila hosef ele nora tehila hosef ele On page 42, we find Hashkivenu, which always feels especially appropriate when it is so pitch dark out when we are reciting it, asking for a shelter of peace. And certainly this week, I think that is something we can all be wishing for. Mm-hmm. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'havidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'havidenu shomreinu l'chaim. it's Shabbat. So we're going to sing a whole prayer just about the importance of Shabbat. On page 44 at the top, Veshamru, the people of Israel shall keep or guard or remember, depending on which set of commandments you're reading, the Shabbat.
Next Friday, I've mentioned before, next Friday we have our Missing Camp Shabbat. So we have the head song leader from Camp Kalsman, Miles Cohen, will be here, along with a few other guests from Camp Kalsman. Encourage you all to come, whether or not you are actually missing Shabbat. And because it will be a lot of fun. I thought about saying this earlier before Micha Mocha, because I know we're not the most dancey congregation out there. But we could be. And one of the things that they do at Camp Kalsman is during Micha Mocha, not everybody, a lot of people get up and dance. So fair warning there. And then when I was talking with Miles to plan the service, I was saying, like, we do a lot of the same things that they do up at camp. But there are distinct differences in the way they do them. And this, for Vishamru, one of the things they do is in between, they always sing, dooby, 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 Vishamru. So anyway, you can get ready for that, is all.
Look forward to it.
Yeah. In the meantime, we'll just do this the normal way, don't worry. Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael lo tidei olam. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim Asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash, veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. We're going to move now into the Amidah, which begins on page 46. Sometimes we talk about this, and you may have seen last week we did, what did we do?
Last week, a learner's
Minion. Thank you. That was only last week. And we focused on everything we just did. Maybe you talked about this with Rabbi Avi and Liz, but there's a tradition when you begin the Amidah, which we're about to do, of taking 3 steps forward. And sometimes in order to take 3 steps forward, you have to take 3 steps backward, depending on how big the space is in between. And it seems like sort of a little silly, insignificant thing, but it symbolizes stepping into a different place and sort of like making a choice. Like, I am going to move into this space now. And sometimes even just moving our bodies a little bit helps us to get into a different space. So we're transitioning now into the Amidah, which is moving away from all these blessings of gratitude that are more like generically about things in the universe and things for the people of Israel, and we move more and more into our own personal prayer. So I'll invite you, if you are able, to join us, please, by rising on page 46. We'll join together, and if you want, you can take your 3 steps forward as we're singing the prayer. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufiya ki tehilatecha Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, V'zocher Astei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Gula Lifnei V'nehem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Mashiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham V'Ezras Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayei HaKol Atah Rav Lehoshia, Mashif HaRuach U'Morid HaGashem, Mechalkel Chayim Bechesed, Mechayei HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofeh Holim,
Umatir Asurim,
Umekayem Emunato Lishanei Afar, Michamocha Bal Gevurot, Umidom Elach, Melech Lemid Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'emanata lehachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh ha'akol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kadoshim b'chol yom yahalelucha selah, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
You may be seated, and we are going to turn to page 60 for our first prayer for peace. Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lecho hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lecho hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael bechol leitu vechol sha'ah bishlomecha. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
Take a few moments now for silent prayer with whatever words seem appropriate to you, or lack of words. We find the words for Ose Shalom, the bottom of page 62.
It's one of those weeks where we need 2 prayers for peace, double prayer.
Sometimes you just need extra good peace energy.
Yeah.
Ose Shalom Biroma, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael Yoshvei Tevel v'yimeru Amen V'yimeru Amen V'yimeru Amen V'yimeru Amen. May we find peace, and may we find peace, may we find peace, amen. And may we find love, and may we find love, and may we find love, amen. Amen, 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 amen.
At this time in the service, our thoughts turn to those in our community in need of healing, in need of strength of mind, body, or spirit. This week as a community, we are particularly thinking of Jacqueline Tara Smith, Deborah Rose, Eileen Kreisman, Ronnie Haber, Ellen Gottlieb, Vanessa Bianco, Paul McCready, Glenn Letts, Carl Wilhite, Cindy Balin, Patty Newby, Joe Giordano, Ron Louie, Marion Laird, Sheldon Robert, Lisa Bush, Patricia Barber, Paul Norris, Stephen Thrasher, Laura Halper, Bob Cook, Jason Gettler, Nina Schechter, Amanda Young, Wyatt Curcio, Tom Anderson, Mary Wilhite, Stephen Shuckman, Jennifer Stock, Shelley Oakley, Margaret Nichols Kornblue, Risa Coleman, Jessica Abbott, Jody Buktenica, Seth Blank, Avery Dover, Brooke Denmark, Michael Bruhan, and Mickey Resnick. If there are other names or you'd like to correct a name I've inadvertently mispronounced, please do so now or share in the chat. Those named and those unnamed, we hold them in our minds as we turn to the words on page 253 of Mishaberach Lecholim.
Mishaberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing. And let us say, Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
This Shabbat, we are in Parshat Bo, which is often noted for the intensity of the final 3 plagues and the dramatic moments leading up to the Exodus from Egypt into freedom. The 8th plague brought a thick mass of locusts, so large in number that the land appeared to become dark, a hint of the plague that's going to come. And further foreshadowing the final plague, Pharaoh begs from that darkness to Moses and Aaron, saying, forgive me, forgive my offense just this once, and plead with your God Adonai that this death, Hamavet Hazed, this death but be removed from me. He doesn't know that it's only going to get worse. Moses delivers this message to God, who causes the locusts to be hurled into the Sea of Reeds, yet another foreshadowing of what will become of Pharaoh's army. But then God hardens Pharaoh's heart, and the Pharaoh does not let Bnei Yisrael, the children of Israel, go. And then, of course, is the final plague, the death of the firstborn son. There are essentially 3 important characters to this story. No offense to Aaron. Moses, Pharaoh, and God. Each influences the trajectory of the story. And really, no single one is solely responsible for how it plays out. God, yes, holds most of the power, which is part of the point of the story. And most troubling is the repetition of God hardening Pharaoh's heart. But we do see moments when both Moses and Pharaoh react to each other out of their own volition. And beneath the miraculous show of plagues that we read in this portion runs a demanding and ever-timely question. When history is unfolding, how do we, as humans and as Jews, choose to meet the moment, especially when we're living in it in real time and don't yet know the significance of any given moment that we're in? Moses does not control the plagues or dictate the timing, but with every plague, every instruction from God, he continues to step forward to meet the demands of that moment. He speaks up, he intervenes, and he protests. But redemption in this story is not only about the freedom from physical servitude and the moments of crossing the Red Sea. Liberation for the Israelites begins that moment that Moses refused to turn a blind eye, the moment that he refused to shrink away when threatened by authority. Speaking truth to power was the beginning of the Israelites' spiritual redemption and liberation. But the thing about this story is that Moses had a really clear sign from God. God says directly to him, I will send you, Moses, to Pharaoh, and you shall free my people, the Israelites, from Egypt. In other words, Moses, this is your moment, and this is your job in that moment. And for us, the challenge presumably is that none of us have a clear sign from God. If you do, maybe talk to me later about that. It's hard to know if this is the moment And if so, what exactly are we being called to do? There's a famous verse from the book of Esther, chapter 4, verse 14, that we often quote when Mordecai says to Esther, "Who knows if perhaps you were put here for such a time as this?" We use this verse a lot for inspiration and motivation. Perhaps it's destiny that we're here in this time and place, and we're being called to do something that no one else can do. Our role in the world and the making of history matters. Interestingly, there's another part of that conversation in the same verse that does not get quoted nearly as often. If you read the verse in its entirety, this is what Mordecai says to Esther. "If you keep silent in this crisis, relief and deliverance will come to the Jews from another place, but you and your father's house will perish. And who knows if perhaps you were put here for such a time as this." Redemption of the Jewish people will come one way or another, he says. And Esther has to decide whether or not she is going to be part of making that history. In a way, it's a call to action. If you don't act now, you're going to miss the moment altogether. But I think there's another way you could read this verse. A la Pirkei Avot, Lo alecha hamlaha ligmor. It's not up to you to complete the task, but neither are you free to desist from it. Redemption is coming, and you should be part of it, but the entire fate of the universe does not rest on you alone. This is the same challenge that the Exodus story presents to us. The question is not if redemption will come, but who will rise up to meet that moment and be part of bringing about that redemption. Today, hundreds of clergy from all over the country showed up in Minneapolis to protest ICE, including some rabbis from Washington. And last I heard, about 100 of them have been arrested. This is an act of bravery. It's an act of rising up. I have a lot of kavod, respect for my colleagues who are there. And yet, flying to Minneapolis to protest is not a feasible option for all of us. Yesterday, I was in a meeting for the fellowship that I'm part of for women in Jewish leadership called Voices for Good, which I've talked about a few times, and we were discussing this Esther text in the context of the protests happening in Minneapolis. So many of us want to do something, but we can't always do the big, grand thing. We feel the pull of the many demands of our regular lives. And so we were asking ourselves, what are the different ways that we can meet the moment that maybe aren't as flashy as jumping on a plane on a whim and flying across the country to protest, but still have a legitimate impact? And I want to offer 3 suggestions that come from our Jewish wisdom. The first is a teaching from the Talmud, which is a well-known teaching that perhaps you've heard. It goes like this: in a place where no one behaves like a human being, you must strive to be human, which is simple yet profound. It is sometimes those are the hardest places to bring dignity and compassion to the moment. Yesterday, Rabbi Dusty joined some of our congregants for the Washington Immigrant Solidarity Network's Advocacy Day. It's called IRAD, Immigrant and Refugee Advocacy Day. This is a day, Advocacy Day, that happens every year, and it just so happens that it's happening this year right now while all the ICE stuff is going on. They advocate for policies that matter most to immigrant and refugee families. And this is one of the ways where we can continue to bring our voice, calling on our leaders to bring humanity, to see everyone as being made in the image of God, B'Tselem Elohim, to treat everyone with dignity. That Advocacy Day is over, but there are still plenty of ways that we can choose to show up and be human in places where it doesn't feel like there's a whole lot of humanity happening. The second is a more modern teacher, Golda Meir, who was one of the prime ministers of Israel and one of my fellows in the fellowship, is the executive director of the Golda Museum in Denver. Her name's Lena. And so she was talking yesterday. she was telling us her story and talking about, for her, trying to look at Golda and learn from Golda, what does it mean to be an activist? What would Golda say? And for her, the story she was telling had to do a lot with after October 7th and trying to figure out, when she had all these people constantly protesting outside of the Golda house, what would Golda want her to do and channel Golda's energy. And some of the teachings, every time she talks about Golda, I'm always inspired. I'm like, I need to learn more about Golda. But one of the teachings that she talked about was that Golda was all about being a builder. She wasn't a picket activist out there protesting, but the way that Golda was a protester, if you will, by protesting whatever the reality was, and having a vision for a better future, was by being a builder and a teacher. And one of the things that she urged people to do is to keep telling their story, to keep teaching the Jewish story, to keep teaching your story, your family story. And so from Golda, we can learn that by being rooted where we are and being teachers of Torah, that is one way to be builders and to be in the moment. The third is a teaching that you can tell me afterwards whether or not you agree with this, but it's a teaching that I learned from one of our members, one of our congregants, Aaron Fine, who learned this Talmud text from Rabbi Ronit Sadok, who works at JFS here in Seattle, which is to say that we have a lot of really amazing Jewish teachers and leaders here in Seattle. It's pretty amazing. This piece of Talmud comes from Tractate Yevamot, in case you were curious. It comes in the form of a story. It was taught in a Baraita. Rabban Gamliel said, "Once I was traveling on a boat, and from a distance I saw a boat that shattered and sank. I was grieved over the apparent death of the Torah scholar who was on board. And who was it? Rabbi Akiva. But when I disembarked onto dry land, he came and he sat, and he deliberated before me about halakha, about Jewish law. And I said to him, 'My son, who brought you up from the water?' And he said to me, 'A plank from the boat came to me, and I bent my head before each and every wave that came toward me. The waves did not wash me off the board, and I reached the shore.'" In other words, Rabbi Akiva knew that when a wave is crashing towards you, hitting it head on isn't the way to survive. Sometimes the best way to survive is by ducking down and letting the wave pass over you. The Talmud goes on to say that from here, the sages stated, if wicked people come upon a person, he should bend his head before them. That is, he should temporarily restrain himself and not fight them, and he therefore will be saved. This is not, I don't read it as a shirking of responsibility. I think this is about having the ability to discern when it is safe to stand up and protest loudly, and when our survival depends on choosing to keep our head down and know that the wave will eventually pass. And I'm not suggesting that this is the answer, to just keep our heads down and let this moment pass. But I want to acknowledge that for some people, focusing on your own survival and putting your head down is what needs to be done for you in this moment. And sometimes that is a very legitimate way of meeting the moment. At the core of this page of Talmud, though, there's a clear message in the whole piece, which is that Judaism does not allow us to outsource moral responsibility to probability or fate. When the stakes are human lives, probably it's not good enough. We must assess for our own safety, and only then should we step forward and act. Finally, Parshat Bo, after all of the plagues, introduces the first mitzvah that God specifically gives to the Jewish people. It's not the first mitzvah in the Torah, but it's the first one that God gives to the Jewish people. And that is the mitzvah of celebrating Rosh Chodesh, marking the new moon, the sanctification of time. Redemption does not come to passive observers. It comes to people who mark time and who recognize the moment and step into it. And there's a teaching about why we celebrate Rosh Chodesh, the new month, when it's not a full moon. It's not when, well, there are a lot of cultures that when the moon is full and bright, that's when they mark that as a new month. We mark it at the new moon, which is when it's the darkest. And there's a teaching that's why that we do that precisely because it's when the world seems the darkest, that we mark time as an act of hope, a belief in the future, that there are going to be moments in the future of lightness. We rarely know which moments matter most. We usually only know in hindsight. The challenge is to live as if this might be one of them. There's more than one way to meet the moment. What matters is that we are paying attention and choosing the path that is right for us. On this Shabbat, may we pause from the busyness of our lives so that we can recognize the moment that we are in and intentionally choose how to step forward and make a difference in the history that is unfolding before us. Shabbat Shalom. We're going to turn now to page 283, our prayer Aleinu, which invites us to consider, as always, the obligation to do the work of Tikkun Olam, of repairing the broken parts of our world. If you're able, please rise. We'll join together.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon HaKol, Latet gedula le'otzer Bereshit, Shehu sam chelkeinu le'ached et shemo, Ve'gor aleinu le'amlik malchuto, V'anachnu korim, U'mishtachavim u'modim, Lifnei melech, Malchei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, V'ne'emar, V'haya Adonai, Le'melech HaKol ha'aretz, Bayom ha'hu, Bayom ha'hu, Yeh Adonai echad, U'shemo, U'shemo, U'shemo echad.
You may be seated. We turn to page 294 now as we think about loved ones that we've lost either recently or at this time in years past. This Shabbat, we are in the Shloshim period, the 30-day period, mourning the loss of Elizabeth Hager Bilms, the aunt of Marshall Brumer. And we also remember Zoe Monserud, dear friend of Max Levitt. On this Shabbat, we also mark the yahrzeits of loved ones that we lost at this time in years past. We remember Gana Polakova, Mark Brasham, Doris Goldberg, Louise Posner Joseph, Annetta Schwartz, Arlene Sinkoff, Martin Abkowitz, Lillian M. Hurwitz, Jay Kufert, Fern Rosenfeld Meltzer, Simon Pasternak, Boris Schuster, Hoodie Smith, Louis Rudolph, Hannah Riva Bresker, Hyman Sablut, Les Dishy, and C. Henry Hank Heckendorn, and Stanley Herman. If there are names that I mispronounce, please say it the right way so we can all hear it. And if there are other names to add to our Kaddish list, I invite you to do so now. If you're online, please share in the chat. Thanks, Herman. If you're able, please rise. We'll join together on page 294, the words of Kaddish Yatom. Yikadal v'yikadash shmei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'alma divrach yirteh v'yamlich malchuteh b'chayachon uv'yomechon uv'chayeh dekol Beit Yisrael ba'agala uv'yisman kariv imru.
Amen.
Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'elam olamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh V'tadar, v'tale, v'talal, shemei dekudsha brichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru.
Amen.
Yehi shama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim alinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu ya'aseh shalom, alenu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to Israel, the whole world. Say together, Amen.
Amen.
You may be seated. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
We're going to close out with a song that isn't in the book.
Isn't in the book.
It is Olam Chesed Yibaneh.
I was not prepared for this. I believe you. Thank you. Yes. Appreciate that. All right, so the words begin with a little bit of Hebrew, Olam Chesed Yibaneh, which means I will build this world with Chesed, which we'll translate as love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Olam chesed yibaneh, yada-da, da-da, yada-da-da. Olam chesed yibaneh, yada-da, da-da, yada-da-da. Olam chesed yibaneh, yada-da, yada, yada-da-da. Olam chesed yibaneh, yada-da, yada, yada-da-da.
I will build this world.
I will build this world from love. Yada-da, da-da, yada-da-da. And you must build this world from love. Yada-da, da-da, yada-da-da. And if we build this world from love, yada-da, da-da, yada-da-da, then God will build this world from love. Yada-da, da-da, yada-da-da. Olam chesed yibaneh. Yada-da, da-da, yada-da-da.
If there are any young people who would like to be part of leading Hamotzi, I would invite you to come up now. Get out of my way. Come on up. Maybe you are welcome to be part of it as well. Maybe you are apparently more than welcome to be part of it.
You're being voluntold.
You want to take this cover off? Oh, can you have the kitty take the cover off? Thank you. Wonderful. And can someone put your hand on this little loaf of challah? We will say, Baruch Adonai
Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz, b'tei avon.
Please have some
B'tei
challah.
avona. Please join us
Thank you all.
for the oneg. Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Thank you, Maeve. Shabbat shalom. Good Shabbos. Oh, thank you so much, Aoife. Amazing. What good helpers. That was better with you.